and welcome to Educated STEM. Today I thought I would talk to you a little bit about how to write a personal statement or a statement of purpose for your graduate school application. So I have a previous video on how to apply to graduate school, and so I touched very briefly on what to write in that video, but today I just want to go into a little bit more detail and maybe give you a couple of suggestions for how to improve. So your personal statement is what is going to get you into the interview process. So it doesn't really matter what your transcript says, what your GRE results are. If your statement of purpose or your or this personal statement is not amazing and shows them why you want to come to this school, come to this program, do the research on this topic, then you're not getting in. You know, you could be a stellar student from Oxford or Harvard, and you will just be put in the trash pile or the bin. So let's think about the key components of a personal statement. So the first thing is to introduce yourself to the admissions committee. And so hopefully we have an interesting anecdote or story in order to help you. So why are you interested in this topic? So for instance, I'm a biochemist and I used to do cancer research. So, my personal statement could have started with a family member who had cancer, of which unfortunately I've had many. It could have been my love for, doing experiments. I used to love being at the bench, putting things together, seeing how it worked. I loved the challenge of, figuring out why an experiment hadn't worked, how to improve it, which different cell line to use. I loved all of that. And luckily for me, during my undergraduate degree, I had had an experience at a university where I had performed research for a year. And so I later found out that by mentioning that and having that experience, I became so much more attractive to the programs that I applied for because I'd already done research. I'd already shown that I had an aptitude for it. And I knew what it was like. I knew that the experiments didn't necessarily work every day, but I had the gumption and the grit to come back in and keep going until I got the result that was necessary to move the project forward. So what is it that sets you apart from others? Have you participated in science fairs? Have you done research internships? Have you performed research with others? Have you shadowed someone? Why are you interested in this? Maybe you've read a book. Back in my day, I could have mentioned the very old film now, Gattaca, talking about genetics. Maybe I'd watched that and thought, yes, genetics is super cool. I need to work on that. Or maybe, you had a lecture from someone. What is it that got you really excited about this subject that you're interested in? And get that down. Hopefully, you can do all of this in a paragraph. Your essay is going to have a limit, so make sure that you can touch on all of the different points that I'm going to mention before you get to that limit. And also know that the schools may have different lengths for this essay. So the essay is absolutely going to have to change, depending on the school. And plus the bit at the bottom, that's absolutely going to change for each school. So your introduction, who are you and why should they care? Let's get them hooked and interested, and more importantly, invested in you, because you want to meet them, you want to get that interview, you want to show them that you are going to be a fantastic candidate for their school. Next thing, what do you want to be after you have finished this program? This is a stepping stone. You don't get a master's or a PhD degree and then that's it, you're great. You have to get a job after that. So what is it that you want to do? Get that down in the next paragraph. Show them that you have considered what happens after you have finished. Maybe on their website there's information about what their graduates go on and do. You could show that you've done your research and insert that information. So whatever it is, get it all down. So you've introduced yourself, you've told them that you've considered your future career, and tell them how their program is going to get you to that spot. So obviously, if you want to be a research scientist or an engineer, then you need that accreditation in order to get to the next research opportunity. Now, this is where you're going to start tailoring it for each program. So why are you excited about this particular school and this particular program? So do they have something that is very unique to them? Maybe it's the professors that you could get to work for. Maybe they have a piece of equipment or kit that is really specific and that you are really excited to learn how to use and will be very important when it comes to your research. Maybe they have particular classes that you're really excited about. What is it about that particular program that makes you want to come here? And make sure that you get that down. The next thing is, why will you be successful at that program or in that program? So you can point to your previous successes. You've passed your undergraduate degree. You have your bachelor's. Maybe you've done research before. Maybe you've already taken some higher level classes so that you show that you have the aptitude and the skill. If you are trying to kind of make a little change, I've seen people who want to come to get a biological degree and they haven't taken a lot of biology, or they're chemists, but in their essay they have explained that they have the skill set. They've already shown themselves to be proficient in the sciences and mathematics, and so they know that they have the ability. They just need to have the opportunity in order to kind of make that switch into biology. Or maybe they want to combine an undergraduate in kind of a chemistry, get a biology degree, and kind of move on into kind of a biochemistry, bioengineering space. So whatever it is, make sure you get that down and ensure that they know that you have thought very carefully about their program and how it's going to benefit you. And finally, this is the most important thing. You are going to mention the people that you want to work with during your graduate studies in this essay. So make sure you go to the website, figure out a couple of people that you're interested in working for, why you're interested in working for them. So, make sure that you name them. When you're reading an essay, if you happen to see your name in there, you're like, oh, that's so lovely, it's so flattering. So, you never know who's on the admissions committee. You could be mentioning people who are literally reading your essay and they're like, yes, this person gets me. I'm very excited for them. You've just, launched yourself to the top of the pile. So make sure that you have mentioned a couple of people. And I say, 2 or 3, because if you mention one, that is a red flag to most admissions committees. Because what happens if they happen to know that that person is unlikely to take a graduate student this year? It could be, because they have a lack of funding. They don't want a graduate student this year. They're thinking about moving on from the institution or retiring. You don't know that. But the admissions committee probably will. So if they read it and they think, oh dear, this person might be disappointed if they come here and realize that Professor X isn't going to be taking them, then that makes them more cautious. And anything that makes the admissions committee kind of think twice and want to potentially put you in the maybe pile, you want to avoid that. So make sure you list a couple of people, maybe 2 or 3, to ensure that you don't get put in the maybe pile because they're thinking, oh, this person could be disappointed. Make sure that, yes, you've got a couple of people in there who could be reading your essay and going, yes, I like this individual, so that they can absolutely put you into the yes pile. And so make sure that when you send each of your essays off, that you're sending the correct essay to the correct school. This might sound really simple, but I've seen it messed up before, and it's bad. It means that your essay and your entire application is probably just going to go straight into the no pile, into the bin. So make sure that you're sending the right thing off, and then make sure someone else reads it or you edit it. Make sure it is absolutely perfect. No typos, no grammatical errors. that you haven't got incomplete sentences, because you want to make sure that you take the time and effort to show the admissions committee that you really want to be in their program, and to acknowledge the time and effort that they're putting in by reviewing your application. If they see something that is sloppy, it implies laziness, it certainly implies that maybe you're not ready to come to graduate school, or that you're not particularly interested in this particular graduate program, at which point, again, your application is just going to get put straight into the no pile. So make sure that you're honoring the time and effort that the admissions committee is putting in, and frankly, the time and effort that you've put into your application. Because if you send something that isn't ready, then you're not helping your application. You're not helping your chances of getting in. So make sure that absolute perfection is going on to be looked at. So make sure that your personality and your uniqueness comes across in your essays. So how do you do that? Again, maybe the anecdote that that you write down is so amazing that they can't turn you down. Maybe you're talking about the superheroes of yesteryear were Superman and Batman, and now the superheroes are Dr. Fauci and other people in white lab coats who are trying to save people from diseases and infections and whatever it is. Make sure that that is all in there and it's absolutely memorable, because that is what's going to happen when the admissions committee is sat around a table and they're talking about 100+ people, and they're like, oh yes, candidate Y, I don't really remember much about this application. Hang on a second, let me sheaf through and see if there's anything redeemable about them. You don't want that to happen. You want them to be like, yes, candidate Y, the essay is amazing. They have a great rationale for coming here. They want to work for professors X, Y, and Z, and they know about the program. They're super keen. We should give them an interview opportunity. So whatever it is that's going to make you stand out, write it in there. And then maybe, show it to a mentor, a professor in the field. Make sure that whatever you're writing, it's hitting all of the right notes. Because I've read them. I've literally read one where it said, I'm essentially a postdoc. I just don't have a PhD yet. So clearly you're going to let me into the program. I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to do a PhD in a couple of years so I can get out and go and be fabulous somewhere else. And that just came across as arrogant and cocky. It was certainly memorable. Everyone, was like, whoa, that is something else. So again, think about the tone that you're putting across in your essay. You want to be, someone that they want to meet, someone that they want to spend time with. If you're coming across as a complete douche, they're not going to want to interview you. They're definitely not going to want you in their program for 5 years. So again, think very carefully about how you write it, the words that you use, how you're coming across, and get friends, family, mentors to read it to make sure that you really are kind of hitting those points before you, put it in and maybe mess up your entire application for a year. So again, writing your statement of purpose or a personal statement, it's very personal to you. You could read other people's, and that's wonderful. Hopefully it will give you some ideas about things to include. You find things that you like and things that you don't like, and then you're going to take it, on your own kind of level and kind of figure out how you're going to do this to make you attractive to the admissions committee. And remember, you don't necessarily know what is going to work and what isn't going to work. So at the end of the day, you want to put in an essay that you are happy with, that you feel represents you in the best way, so that you can decide, yes, I'm going to get into this graduate school. They're going to really want me, and they're going to know who I am, and they're going to know what they're going to get. So I hope that information was helpful. If you like it, give my video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, write down your comments below. I will respond to all of them. And I look forward to hearing from you, and good luck with your applications.